dogs to like really work on their confidence of having distractions 360, including behind them, and be comfortable with that. So we don't want them sitting or doing a down in that case, because we don't want that to be a crutch for them. So we start off training them standing on it only, which is different than place or park it. So we create that little situation by making sure that they're like king of the hill, standing up and confident. And then we train the dog to think that the mark is their happy place, and that's all good things. Like all interesting adventures that are coming from, or that are about to happen, all come from that mark. All the food, all the attention, all the eye contact, everything is there, standing on that mark and staying there. So it becomes sort of this, magic home base for them. And I use that with distraction training for my pet dog. So I did that with Rambo. In fact, very early on in my relationship with Rambo, because he was so afraid of people and rolling carts and all that. Of course, I went to Wilshire, Vermont Station. There's a big courtyard, and there's residences there, and it's a for those of you who live in Los Angeles would know, it's a metro station with the subway there. So there's a lot of, especially in the morning, a lot of traffic going in and out of the metro station. And so this was like, veritable hell for Rambo. And so what I did is I taught him a mark on a little block of wood. And he was comfortable with the mark at home, and I would start using it in less distracting areas and stuff like that. And he would shed a lot of his fear of traffic and stuff by running to that mark and standing there and realizing that, this is his safe place, da-da-da-da. So I did it one time where had him, when he's really freaked out, he won't take food, even if he's doing a behavior. So I had him standing on a block of wood, and there was a big sandwich sign that blocked him from the people moving back and forth near the coffee bean and tea leaf there. And then I stood on the other side, so I kind of sandwiched him in, and he was on the mark, and I'm good, stay, good, stay, good, stay. And he's just holding it barely together. His tail was, tucked, but he was holding his own, which is huge for him. He was like, just hanging in there and not breaking and not bolting. And we're doing really good until this lady who had passed by with a rolling cart whipped around and started yelling at me for abusing my dog because I was making him stand on a book, she said. And I was like, aw, shucks. I mean, seriously. Like, I'm abusing the dog. Because, if the dog's tail is tucked, then it's clearly I'm abusing it. I mean, little does this woman know the dog's tail is tucked even at home half the time. So it really was like, he would pee and there would be a tip of his tail would be wet from urine because his tail was always tucked. So, this is, again, people don't judge other people like that. You really don't know what the hell you're talking about. That's a Shubs move right there. Come up and ask a question, but don't start accusing people of stuff. You're not seeing me hit the dog. You're not seeing, and my clients and students have the same problem where people just run up and they just assume because the dog looks stressed at all that you're abusing the dog. I mean, the only time Rambo wasn't stressed was when he was sleeping, so really, get off it. But anyway, this crazy-ass Shubster comes up to me and starts yelling, which does not help my dog feel comfortable. If this woman is yelling and stressing me out, that stressed him out. She's coming closer with the stupid bags, the rolling cart that she had behind her, and she's yelling at me because I'm apparently abusing the dog. And I was like, lady, I'm a dog trainer. This is a mark. He's learning to overcome his fears, and you are not helping the situation. And she just continued to freaking argue with me. And poor Rambo, God bless the little dog, he held on so well. He didn't break. He didn't do anything. He just kind of looked at me a little bit and then just went back to focusing straight forward. Because here, what was going on was that he was on his safe place, and I had this sandwich board blocking him so he didn't have to see things at right close to his eyeball level, and I was blocking him on the other side, so I was kind of like controlling the traffic. In his mind, he was learning by my tricking him into learning this, by my abusive behavior, that he was learning that if he stayed there, the scary stuff would go away, and this woman was screwing it up by coming up to me and yelling at me and coming closer with her stupid rolling bag. He still held on. So there, I'm just telling you, the happy place can really work some miracles when you're trying to go through things. And finally, the crazy-ass Shubster, I want to use another word, but the crazy Shubs woman finally left, all huffy. And I just kind of reassured him through the entire time while she's yelling at me about my abuse, apparently. So anyway, when it was all over and I said, okay, you're done, he was so happy. And he comes running over and gets all lovey, lovey, lovey. He was so excited because I'm using something that is his happy place, but I'm also, he's doing a job. So this is kind of where this stuff works. Dogs do really well when they're working and focusing their brain on a job that they feel comfortable elsewhere, and now they're doing this job in a scarier place, but they're doing it. And this is how you raise the bar on your dog to try to help them build more confidence. So it's a win-win unless you get a crazy shubster who comes, making all kinds of crazy accusations and thinks she has no idea what she's talking about. Hello. So whether it's a mark or a favorite blanket or even a crate or carrier, the safety or happy place aspect is built up in a non-distracting environment first. That is already deemed safe and comfortable with the dog, and that's almost always going to be at home. That's just the way it is. I could now use the black office chair at my house for other things that could be associated with safety things, and so that you can sort of like transfer safety zones or safety sensations or happy places with other happy places and create new happy places by associating with the previous happy place and just kind of keep the chain going. So, I can make something else and put it on the black office chair and have Rambo jump on that, and he would make that association that this is a happy thing, unless he had a bad experience with it. So this is how it kind of works in a very general sense. Dogs take context very seriously. So the more you marry a context of safety and happiness, if you will, to an object, the easier it is to take the object into a less safe environment. This happy place makes it much easier for the dog to overcome the distraction, overcome the phobia when the happy place is slowly introduced to the distracting environment. Remember what I said? I started using that mark in other places that weren't as busy first. So I worked my way up to the Wilshire and Vermont station, the veritable hell for Rambo. All right, here's some mistakes in choosing the wrong kind of happy place. 1, people will try to use toys or objects or even food that the dog is obsessive about. This is about marrying that. In that situation, it's about marrying high energy or anxiety about the object to the distracting environment. And you will not get relaxation, but more anxiety. So don't use something that your dog is obsessed about and distracts them in and of itself. Number 2, using your lap. Laps are only good for relaxation when the dog learns to relax and not pay attention to the world around it when in the lap. But most of the time, if a dog is in your lap in a distracting or scary environment, what is normally a happy place at home is now an alpha position and requires them to be on alert. You are now marrying the alpha position or responsibilities to exposure to the outside world that is anxiety producing, and this will always backfire. Now, number 3 mistake, using only the down behavior to get relaxation in an environment. This comes much later after much training and practice. So the purpose of the happy place is to make sure the dog has a tangible object to associate with the relaxation or safety in the midst of what they deem as chaos, if they knew those words. So what I mean is don't assume that just because you put your dog in a down position in any location that they automatically will relax. No, you need to start marrying that down position to the safety place, and then you can get rid of the safety place, like that whole park it mat, that whole concept of running to the mat first, and then eventually doing it without the mat, because now the muscle memory of just laying down underneath surfaces and stuff is now the safety spot, and you don't need the mat. So don't just assume that the behavior itself, without a tangible object, is going to work. Number 4, just using your soothing words is also a mistake. We would like to believe that our words of "it's okay" and whatever you have to say is enough to get your dog in a happy place. It's okay, it's all right, you're good, it's all right. That's not going to work while they're distracted. It works at home, but not outside. What works better is focusing the dog's brain on a job to do, like stay, for instance. And stay will be your number 1 thing when you're dealing with those happy places. Even if it's just to lie on their bed at the cafe, praise them for the job they're doing. While that will help your dog more than just saying it's okay. So I want you to know that you can destroy the happy place by being over exuberant, and I hinted at this several times. A common mistake with using happy places in distracting areas is that we put too much faith in the happy place. For instance, we have to be careful to slowly introduce the dog to the chaos. By using a happy place at a distance or intensity level, the dog isn't going to lose it and break it away. So you just got to slowly introduce that happy place to the chaos. If you just go into like the midst of the freaking fire with their new happy place, so they'll associate that horrible experience, that horrible distraction to the happy place, and now it is a negative thing. You see this happen when like people take their dogs or their cats to the vet, and only one particular carrier, that's the only time they go in the carrier. Well, as soon as they see that carrier, now they run away, because it's not a happy place. It's now the total negative place. It's the place of hell. So we have to be careful not to turn something that was a happy place into a place of hell. And you can fix it, but it takes a long time, or you might have to kind of use a different variable, like a different carrier type of thing. So just be very careful not to like overdo it too quickly, or you're going to destroy it. But when you got it down, when you're doing it right, it's a fabulous tool to use. And when it comes to the mark, for instance, we go from like a big book to a block to a piece of paper, and then we start like doing random stuff. So like we just tap their leash and they stand on their own leash, and that's their happy place now. And they'll stay there forever because we've created this association. So I just want to give you some like ideas so you can start hunting for things that will work for your dog and will work for your lifestyle, and start using that to make sure that your dog can handle the distractions and be still and hold it together and overcome phobias, or just learn to be relaxed in distracting environments and not be bothered. So that's the kind of thing I wanted to tell you. Look for finding that happy place for your dog. It's an awesome tool, and we use it all the time for training. The crate is an awesome tool as well. We use that for cat training. So I just wanted to throw that out there, and I want to say thank you for hanging on and coming back and listening to the show after me being gone for a month. Some of you were kind of upset that I was leaving and said, don't leave us forever. I'm back because I got nothing else to do, so why not? Anyway, so as you know, in the dog world, to love is to serve. So by gosh, go out there and find little ways for your dogs to serve you every day, and in return, you will have served them well. I will talk to you next week, you crazy people. Bye.